So that really is the big question, a political power shift at a time when India is powerless, in some ways a cruel joke. How will this actually help the power minister promoted on a day when many would have thought that he would be held accountable for what happened over the last 2 days? He's now got one of the big 4 portfolios in the government. Joining me on this tonight, Ravi Shankar Prasad of the BJP, and of course to be Deputy Leader of Opposition in the Rajya Sabha as well. He's also got experience in this sector because he is former Minister of State for Coal and Mines in the NDA government. I'm also joined by Vikram Singh Mehta, Chairman of the Shell Group, again one of the world's biggest energy producing companies. I'm joined by Dilip Gaonkar, Consultant Editor. I'm also joined by Professor Shaugat Bose, a well-known historian and a student in some sense of contemporary South Asia as well. And I'll also be joined by Manishankar Iyer. But Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, across to you first. One person who I think made a point today was Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi, who can pride himself on 24/7 power in Gujarat. And he actually tweeted to the Prime Minister asking what's going on with 19 states powerless. What would you say today on a day when we've seen the Power Minister now become the new Home Minister?
Well, a cruel joke on India's democratic polity, Sonia. Now, India was powerless yesterday, has become powerless today. Northern grid collapsed, today the eastern and northeastern have collapsed. And the great power minister being promoted as Home Minister. Adarsh scam investigation notwithstanding. Anna Hazare and other team are seeking accountability on the issue of corruption. Mr. Chidambaram again being given finance regardless of his role in the whole 2G issue. A Supreme Court hearing, judgment pending before the Supreme Court about his role is too well known. I see a colossal case of talent deficit. How else do you explain it? In case of power minister, it is a cruel joke, you rightly pointed out. Therefore, it is a case of talent deficit. It raises a serious issue on governance. It raises a serious issue on a whole larger question of fight against corruption. But since you mentioned about my role as a coal minister, let me tell you 2-3 things very quickly. You cannot see the grid collapse in isolation. Yes, it is very serious. There is a grid code under the Act of 2003. There has to be a coordination, intervention by the system, center. The trading in power is permissible. Anyone can purchase that power in the even if there is deficit. But when there is heat is less, this overdrawal because their system is not functioning. Again, impinging upon governance in this sector. Point number 2, so much of scam in the whole coal sector. Delayed allocation of coal blocks. Now 62% of India's new power projects are thinking of closing down, I read somewhere, because environmental problem, coal blocks problem. Now these things you have to address
because
in a
of
very
a shortage
proper,
of
transparent
coal.
manner.
In fact, let me bring in Manishankar Iyer here, not an official Congress spokesperson, but of the Congress. Mr. Iyer, the collapse really of power in India over the last 2 days in parts in North and East India today, North India yesterday, have for many said exposed starkly a larger infrastructure deficit under UPA 2, and many have pointed to the irony of the power minister under whom this has happened actually being promoted to Home Minister. What would you say, sir, as a congressman today?
Till the day that Mr. Shinde was appointed Home Minister, there wasn't a collapse, except perhaps 2 days earlier. So I think you've got a lovely journalistic irony in having the Power Minister made into the Home Minister. But please understand the much more fundamental problem. There has been one of the most serious droughts in northwest India that we have seen ever. And since it is desperately necessary that we up agricultural production and we deal with the 60% of Indians who are in the agricultural sector, I think state governments have simply decided to break rules and to break the law. They hadn't done this earlier, they've done it now. And they've done it now, and the consequence is that at least as far as the northern grid is concerned, it is a desperate reaction to a desperate situation, and it was a situation that was not envisaged earlier. I'm sure steps will be taken to rectify the situation. Insofar as the East and the Northeast is concerned, since the East is the singular most important source of power in India, there appears to be a technical problem that needs to be addressed. I'm not suggesting that we have come out of this with any kind of pride, but I do believe that the kind of economic reforms that have been pushed in the last 20 years, which have devalued agriculture vis-a-vis urban and industrial requirements, is at the root of this. We need to ensure power to agriculture first. And I'm much more concerned about the fact that most Indians in rural India suffer the kind of problems that urban India is suffering today, and their problems are not being given the kind of attention which today you are giving to those in urban India who are unable to be sure that their kids will be bailed before they go to school tomorrow.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.